You're not half bad. You killed my father. Like father, like son.
Welcome to the motherfucker. We're covering today's top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. What is our last look at the unified middleweight title fight set to go down tomorrow night on the undercard of Thorsland versus Johnson, Robinson versus Thibeault, the Aussie versus the Maple Leaf for what is the IBF and WBO middleweight titles. One of two unified middleweight title fights is set to go down this month, this one tomorrow night, and the other, Clarissa Shields versus Kay Scotch. A busy month in the women's middleweight division. Tamm Thibeault sports an unblemished record of only 4 wins with no losses and no draws, 3 knockouts. 29 years old and fighting out of the southpaw stance. Needless to say, with just 4 fights in her CV, she doesn't have a lot of pro experience. The hope has got to be that her amateur pedigree is what will get her through against the defending champion, Desley Robinson, who sports a professional record of 12 wins with 3 losses and no draws, 4 knockouts, having never been knocked out in 15 professional bouts. Last in action in May of this year, opposite the ring, Mary Spencer, who Desley decisioned over 10 rounds. Currently on a 7-fight winning streak after having dropped a decision to Kay Scotch. In March of 2024, she has since avenged that loss to Kay. Her and Kay, the only 2 middleweight champions at the weight, are 1-1 with each other, with Kay Scott winning the first fight and Desley winning the second. Unfortunately for the Aussies, I think both middleweight champions are about to lose their respective alphabet titles. Kay Scotch to Clarissa Shields and Desley Robinson to Tamm Thibeault tomorrow night. Tamm Thibeault is a tall drink of boxing, a tall drink of gorgeous. What she lacks in professional experience, she makes up for in height, length, power, and her amateur pedigree, as she is a decorated amateur who still has her eyes on Olympic gold for what is the upcoming Olympic Games, juggling what is both an amateur and professional boxing career. I don't see how Desley Robinson wins this fight. If she tries to charge Tamm Thibeault, crash the pocket, and get at her straight away, she might run into something hard. That's if she tries to come forward on Tamm. If she tries to hang back and work off the jab, she doesn't have the height or the length to do that because Tamm is taller. Tamm is longer.
Faster.
Stronger. That don't kill me can only make me longer. I think Tamm knocks her out. I think this fight ends in a violent knockout. Maybe Desley Robinson can make Tamm have to work for it, but front foot or back foot, I think she's outgunned. Fighting for an alphabet titles so soon in a boxer's career with less than a handful of fights is both a gift and a curse, because it is a testament to a fighter's talents. But once you have a belt, the training wheels come off, and you become fair game for any fighter, any contender, any champion in your division.
Tamm, you're fighting for the middleweight title of the world, 2 belts. Clarissa Shields is fighting next week, also for 2 belts. Seems like you guys are on a crash course.
I think eventually it'll happen if she stays at middleweight. We'll see what happens with her career. I mean, we are at 2 different spots in our career, but it is a possibility now.
Yes, 2 different spots in your career, but the thing that brings you guys together is the belts. You guys can come together, be undisputed. We had an undisputed fight. Probably one of the bigger fights you can make in women's boxing.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely down the line. It's
So you want it?
fight. Eventually, yeah.
Okay, there you go. Breaking news. Tamm Thibeault, Clarissa Shields, next.
Eventually.
It looked like Dan Canobio of CompuBox was trying to put pressure on Tamm Thibeault to face Clarissa Shields immediately after her fight with Kay Scotch, should she win, and most people think she's going to, myself included, but I don't think that's going to happen for the simple fact that Clarissa has a lot of problems with MVP. It's 2 co-founders, it's First Lady, Amanda Serrano, and it's stable. Because in Clarissa's mind, she might think she's giving Tamm Thibeault an opportunity in giving her a fight. Thus, I don't expect her to, out of spite. I don't think Tamm is on her radar. Putting the shoe on the other foot, it doesn't sound like a fight that Tamm is itching to have at just 4-0, perhaps 5-0 after Saturday. It's too soon for a fight like that with a fighter like that, and she knows it. That's why she told Dan Canobio as gently as she could, eventually it's something that could happen. Not something I expect to happen right away. I don't expect MVP to make a play for that fight for Tamm for the simple fact that Clarissa Shields claims she's now getting $2 million per fight per her new win records deal. I don't expect MVP to kick that out to Clarissa Shields. So I don't expect Clarissa to make an offer for Tamm, and I don't expect MVP to make an offer for Clarissa. I don't expect to see this fight happen, nor should it, because at this time, it doesn't yield any commercial value. Tamm Thibeault needs to build herself up even more for this fight to have meaning. Substance. If you tried to do the fight straight away when Tamm is only 5-0 theoretically, who's gonna really notice? Clarissa already has a short list of names she plans on fighting in the not-so-distant future. To more immediate effect, she's fighting Kay Scott, after which she means to fight Lauren Price. Talked about it several times here on the channel in passing, after which she also means to fight her quote-unquote Olympic sister, Michaela Mayer. I've never once heard Clarissa Shields address the potentiality of facing Tamm Thibeault. Maybe if Tamm becomes a unified champion, she'll start talking about it, but it hasn't happened yet, and I hope she doesn't. Because I believe Tamm Thibeault needs more time to amass experience, to build herself up. 3 of the 4 fights she's had ended in a knockout, meaning she hasn't even gone the distance most of the time. She doesn't have a lot of rounds, and she already doesn't have a lot of fights. Thus, I see no reason to thrust her into a situation with Clarissa Shields on the premise of just titles, alphabet titles. The bottom line is, she needs more experience. This fight needs more time to grow. She's only 4-0, going on 5-0 after tomorrow night, but still, those eggs need more bacon. Isn't that obvious?
Huh?
Seems like everybody wants to fight in America.
Apart from?
Anthony Joshua and myself. And we are doing everything we can to maintain our contractual position. So, I met with Seller, Dr. Rakan, and, listen, we've got a good relationship. No one's trying to pull any strings. They're just saying Netflix would prefer to fight in America. They want the fight in America. And I said, but we wouldn't have signed the fight if it was in America. The whole point of this fight was to give this fight to the British fight fans. And AJ wants this fight to be in the UK. So why should we change? Well, they feel like it's a bigger fight. It could do a bigger audience. America's the showbiz capital of the world. I said, but it's not the boxing capital of the world.
Quite right. The United States is no longer the mecca of boxing that it once used to be. Netflix's rationale might have something to do with them having more subscribers in the United States than in the United Kingdom. And so, if they're the ones doing the fight in their mind's eye, it'll do more viewership in a US time zone than the UK time zone, not realizing that even though this is a big fight in boxing, which it still is after all this time, boxing's audience is not homogenous. This fight doesn't mean to the Americans what it means to the Brits.
And this is a British fight. We're going to get it in the neck for doing the fight in America. And it's disappointing. I'll be honest with you. It's disappointing. Listen, and I know it's going to be a massive fight in New York, but we're trying to do all we can. And, I had calls last night from senior figures at TKO and Zuffa, and they, saying, could we be involved? I said, no. I said, what you got to do with it? Nothing. I said, by the way, you've already come out saying you're the promoter. You're not the promoter. Oh yeah, but it'd be great. It'd be really big if we were involved. It's like, no, what is spiraling out of control here?
Nick Hearn, yeah?
Yeah. No, listen, we had a nice chat. I was pretty honest. I said, I'll tell you what, it's a bit like Turkey El Sheikh doing the Royal Rumble with the WWE in Saudi Arabia and him phoning you up and going, by the way, Eddie Hearn's going to promote it.
Huh?
It's a bit like Turkey El Sheikh making a massive Conor McGregor fight in Saudi Arabia and phoning Dana White and going, all right, Dana, just to let you know, Eddie's going to promote this fight.
Huh?
Does it come down to money and financial aspects, or?
Of course it comes down to money. These guys are very, very wealthy guys. They don't need to do it. But they're getting paid a truckload of money to do it, and people are putting the money up and want certain things to happen to get what they need to get from it. They're putting the money up for the fight.
But why would they think they're going to get more out of the event in America than they would in Britain? Americans aren't pressed to see this fight, so maybe it boils down to the people at Netflix not really understanding boxing as an industry. You would be wasting that fight here in the United States, whereas if you did it in the UK, where it belongs, on a UK time zone, you're going to get the most out of it doing it in the UK, and any Americans who might be interested, they can still watch it. They can watch it in the afternoon like any other British fight.
All right, so to our understanding, why does Turkey want this fight specifically in America? And that's come from Eddie Hearn, by the way. Eddie Hearn said that to me, that Turkey wants this fight in America. So
well, I know they've been trying to get it on in England, but I don't know. We will see where it goes. At the end of the day, it might be the broadcaster. Who knows? Yeah, I think
everyone
it will be.
involved.
I think it'd be disappointing because obviously.
Nobody should be confused about where this fight's supposed to go down. It's supposed to go down in the UK. That's the core audience that wants it. They're the ones most invested, most interested. If it's happening, it's got to be happening for them. You think the Americans care about two Brits? Both of which already have losses in their CV, and the Americans' inherent obsession with the unbeaten, unblemished record. Once you lose, they don't really care about you. They didn't really care about Spence after he lost to Terence Crawford. That's why he had to go all the way down to Australia to make some money. If this is about optimizing the size and scale of the audience for the event, you do it in the UK. During primetime hours in the UK for a boxing match, which are the afternoon and evening hours in the US. And any Americans you wish to cater to, the ones you think are interested in watching this fight, still can, in the afternoon and evening hours. It works out beautifully if you do it in the UK. But if you do it in the US, you alienate the Brits, because primetime hours for a boxing match in America are the wee hours of the morning in the UK. What they may be thinking to themselves is, we have more subscribers in America than we do in Britain, not realizing if you're the ones who do that fight,
You do it in Britain.
you're going to get a surge of subscriptions that month just from people who are subscribing to see that fight. You're not missing anything. Most boxing fans in the UK, for a fight like this one, are already expecting to pay in the neighborhood of 29 to 30 pounds for a pay-per-view. Now this, not being a pay-per-view, and a Netflix subscription in Britain only costing between $5.99 to $18.99 per month, most, if not all of them that want to see it are going to subscribe. So you're not missing anything. So this is a really stupid fucking problem to have about a fight involving two British heavyweights. I mean, this should be a no-brainer, one would think. But people still consider the United States the entertainment capital of the world when boxing in America isn't what it used to be. Even Las Vegas is a tourist attraction. Haven't you guys read that people aren't flocking to Vegas as much as they used to? It's not the scene that it once was. Catering to the Americans is an exercise in futility. It's folly. Most of all when you're talking about a British fight with two British fighters. Eddie and AJ seem to be getting most of the backlash when it comes to all of this. I don't see as much pressure being placed on Tyson Fury and Spencer Brown. Frank is out of it. Frank isn't in the Tyson Fury business anymore, so nobody's really bothering him about it, placing blame on him. It really is down to AJ, Fury, because they're not puppets, you know. AJ doesn't march to the beat of anybody's drum. He tells Eddie what he wants, and Eddie gets it done. Fury, he's the same way. Tyson Fury doesn't do anything that he doesn't want to do. So this situation is largely in part created by them handing the reins over to Netflix to add even more money to the pot, because you don't need Netflix, and you don't actually need Turkey to make this a big fight. It's still a big fight all by itself. But you guys want more money, and they're adding more money, so that creates this problem, this kerfuddle. So I'm not telling you to not be angry at AJ and Eddie. I'm saying you have to keep some of that same energy for Tyson Fury and Spencer Brown, because they're going along with this too, but I don't see people taking shots at them as much. I think the entire situation is a byproduct of Netflix delving into the boxing space, the industry, without fully understanding it. You would be wasting this fight on American soil. I can just tell that Netflix definitely has an interest in showing live sport, but they don't yet understand this industry well enough, because if they had, they would have started a partnership with one of these boxing promotional outfits that have just entered free agency. Just imagine, two of which just migrated over to DAZN. Say you would have picked up Boxer for your UK subscribers and Top Rank for your US subscribers as a package to fill a Saturday afternoon and a Saturday night. Do you know that for what you're paying Tyson Fury and what you're paying Anthony Joshua, you could have financed a year's worth of boxing matches? Because what was Top Rank getting from ESPN? About 80 or 90 million annually. That's a drop in the bucket to Netflix. You could have picked them up and Boxer and did fights throughout the calendar year every Saturday at a fraction of the cost, a fraction of what you're spending on Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury for one fight on one night. Because after it's done, then what? Netflix is a massive platform, so massive that it would have worked out beautifully for Top Rank, for Boxer, and for them as a platform. You would have become a regular destination for boxing all throughout the calendar year. And because the platform is so big, because so many people already have it, odds are that not only would you get the regular boxing fans to watch boxing matches on your platform, you might have even caused some casuals to start watching boxing just because it's there, because it's available. I can just tell that the way that Netflix is going about delving into this industry, they still don't really understand it. There was a missed opportunity there for them. We're still the ones that have done all the deals for this fight. I did the deal for the venue. That's why I know where the venue is. At the end of the day, here's the truth. You're going to go where the money is, said Dana White, speaking exclusively to Sky Sports on the venue for Fury versus Joshua. He still claims to be involved, where Eddie Hearn said that he's denied them any access to promoting this fight. Dana White says not only is he involved, he helped to broker some of the deals. He says that the venue for the fight has already been assigned and he knows where it's going to be, where the rest of us are still in the dark. The truth is, it's a story that only time can tell. Only time can prove Dana White right or wrong. But I will remind you that Dana said something similar about promoting Tyson Fury's fight with Arslanbek Makhmudov. And in the end, that fight did not have the Zuffa banner attached. That didn't qualify as a Zuffa Promotions show. So, could be a similar situation with this. It's a high-stakes pissing contest between Dana White and Eddie Hearn. That's what this is, both having massive egos and a massive chip on both their respective shoulders. But the one thing Dana White said that is true is that it all boils down to the money and who's paying for everything. And last I checked, it's Netflix paying for the fight. They're the ones hosting it. It's their money. There are a lot of things we don't know about this fight, but the one thing we do know is Netflix are the ones putting it on. And that's really not the same thing as Zuffa Promotions, Zuffa Boxing, and TKO coming in and stealing the fight from Eddie Hearn or anybody else, is it? Anthony Joshua's already boxed on Netflix at least once with no involvement from Dana, no involvement from Zuffa, not even Turkey when he fought Jake Paul. So they've already brokered a deal like this before. Tyson Fury, for all the hullabaloo about Zuffa poaching him from Frank Warren, Tyson Fury has yet to box under the Zuffa Promotions banner. Yeah, he boxed on Netflix, but that wasn't under the Zuffa banner, and the fight that he just had in Thailand. If he's with Zuffa now, why didn't they pick that up? Why didn't they broadcast it on Paramount?
Why?
Why is Jadakiss as hard as it gets? Why is the industry designed to keep the artist in debt?
What?
Why'd Halle have to let a white man pop her to get an Oscar?
What the fuck are you talking about?
Why'd Denzel have to be crooked before he took it?
Oh, okay, all right, Jadakiss. The point is, take whatever you get from Dana White with a pinch of salt, because he's just as much enthralled in a high-stakes pissing contest as Eddie.